Yesterday we began a series, a three-part series on the posture of intercession. Yesterday was part one. We'll be adding it tomorrow. We trust that God will minister to us. And we started off from the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2, reading the words of Paul to Timothy, that prayers, supplications, intercessions should be made for all men, for kings, for all those that are in authority, that we may live a quiet and peaceable life, in all honesty. And it was very interesting that we saw that as a believer, actually, we dealt with everyone being an intercessor. As long as you understand the work of the cross, you are an intercessor, because the work of the cross, Jesus going to the cross, was basically interceding for us, right? That he took upon himself our sin, that we may actually be partakers of the righteousness of God. That very act of going to the cross was intercession by itself. So if you have an understanding of that, then you cannot help but be an intercessor. We said to intercede is just to stand in the gap between a person or the other, a person and a group, a person and, a nation and all. Thank you so much, Lynette na Jacob. Believe we are loud and clear. Today, the part 2, we'll be reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29. Jeremiah chapter 29 from verse 1 all the way to verse 14. It's a lengthy reading, but I trust that we shall be blessed. Now, these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the remainder of the elders who were carried away captive, to the priests, the prophets, and all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. This happened after Jeconiah the king, the queen mother, the eunuchs, the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen, and the smiths had departed from Jerusalem. The letter was sent by the hand of Elasah, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah king of Judah sent to Babylon, to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, saying, Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all who were carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and dwell in them, plant gardens and eat their fruit, take wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, so that you may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not be diminished. And seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, do not let your prophets and your diviners who are in your midst deceive you, nor listen to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them, says the Lord. Verse 10. For thus says the Lord, after 70 years are completed at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you and cause you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you'll call upon me and go and pray to me, and I'll listen to you. And you'll seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I'll be found by you, says the Lord, and I'll bring you back from your captivity. I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, says the Lord, and I will bring you to the place from which I caused you to be carried away captive. And we also mentioned yesterday, talking of intercession, that really our context will be the nation. And we saw how that Paul, as he was writing to Timothy, had encountered Emperor Nero, had encountered men like Herod, and he had seen, serious atrocities being done by the Roman Empire then. And even as he's urging Timothy that prayers should be made for kings and those in authority, we saw that it was in between his first and final imprisonment when he was later killed by the Emperor Nero. So he had an understanding of injustice. He had encountered it. He had seen imprisonment. However, he's still saying, pray for kings, pray for those in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life. Now today, the part 2, I'm really actually going for verse 7. This is Jeremiah chapter 29. And seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. Now, allow me to paint a picture of what happened. Remember, this prophet Jeremiah writing is when God actually had spoken through the mouth of the prophets that Jerusalem, Judah, Israel will be taken captive into Babylon. Now, as Jeremiah is saying, the word of the Lord, that seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. You should remember that they were captives in Babylon. Daniel chapter 1, from verse 1, I think to verse 3 or 2, actually paints a picture of what happened when Nebuchadnezzar invaded Judah. And he took away the nobles, and he desecrated the temple. And he, caused some actually to serve in his palace. And if you're a student of history, or rather you just even watch, some documentaries online on YouTube, you can just go on YouTube and learn a thing or two. You'll see how it was when a nation invaded another nation and took them to be captives. Actually, it is said of Babylon that they would frog march people as they took them captives. It is also said that in the palace, you remember Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Daniel, and others, the nobles that were carried to be eunuchs in the palace. I hope you understand that being a eunuch, Masai Jafik, I could have mentioned it kama ingekuwa past 10. What it means to be a eunuch. That they have to ensure that you cannot impregnate, the daughters of the king, the wives of the king, the concubines of the king. So they make you to be a eunuch. And you can imagine, after all that has been done to you, you saw them taking the vessels of the temple of Yahweh and wakipeleka to their temples, their god Shinar. And Nebuchadnezzar, unapata that they are having parties with the temple cups, the temple plates, the golden ones. And you have to understand that these were very precious items to the children of Israel. They have frog-marched you. They have gone to the extent of raping your women. They have burnt down the villages, the towns. They have really even killed the very old, wale ambao wanaonekana they cannot serve, they cannot be of help, they cannot join the military. They kill you before your children. They take the young women, the young ladies that can still bring forth, and they cause you to be concubines to the king or to the militant men. You can imagine all of that. And God comes through the prophet Jeremiah and he's saying, and seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. Yani, you can come to that point, mpaka unauliza God, are you serious, bana? You have seen what these people have done to us, and you're telling us as captives in a faraway land to pray for the peace of that land. I'd expect that I should be praying for the death of Nebuchadnezzar and his cronies. But God is saying, pray for their peace, because in the peace of that city, you will have peace. And as we started off yesterday, I mentioned that the posture of intercession is not really dependent on the happenings of the day. You're a soldier, you're a watchman set upon the tower. You have to remain there whether or not things are good or they're bad. You have to remain there whether the regime is, conducive, the environment is conducive or not. You have to remain there whether your preferred candidate wins or not, whether they win or fail. As a believer, you have to remain there as a watchman, as a watchwoman, just seeking for the purposes of God to prevail. He goes ahead to say, do not let your prophets and your diviners who are in your midst deceive you, nor listen to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them, says the Lord. Because at this particular moment, there were prophets that will arise and say, hey guys, I think tutatoka, tuko karibu kutoka. But Jeremiah is saying, no, they are not been sent by God. You have to accomplish 70 years. Verse 10 now. For thus says the Lord, after 70 years are completed at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you and cause you to return to this place. So probably this prophet is the false ones, and the diviners are giving people false hopes year 9, for example, ama year 12. and telling them, mi nimesikia kutoka kwa Mungu, naona kama tutatoka. But the prophet Jeremiah is speaking the word of the Lord and telling them 70 years have to be completed. And because it's a long time, pray for the peace of this space where you are in right now. Pray for the peace of Babylon. And I've tried my best to paint a picture of how Babylon, could deal with captives. But God is still saying, no, you are my people. You are my chosen ones. Do not neglect your intercession duty, your priestly duty of presenting petition and prayers to me. Actually, when that city, that Babylon has peace, you'll enjoy peace. Tomorrow we'll be going to the part 3, the final part, actually, by God's grace, God helping us. And we'll be looking at when God is seeking for a man, the posture of intercession. You can continue sending your prayer requests on WhatsApp 0717 400 555 or on text 20933. Most importantly, we'll also be praying with anyone that would love to surrender their life to Christ. Keep it right here. This is Route Yetu on Hope FM, where you listen and live.
Hope FM, another quality service from Christ, is the Answer Ministry. Hope FM. This is full time.